A High Court judge has ruled that Joey Barton calling the broadcaster Jeremy Vine a bike nonce was defamatory. This surprised me. Surely nobody thought that Joey's name calling was a serious accusation of paedophilia. Although he dresses like one, Jeremy Vine clearly doesn't have the upper body strength to actually hold a child down. Also, what does bike nonce even mean? He's attracted to children's bikes. Surrealism is surely a defence here. I conducted a poll of my Twitter followers, the smartest, most astute people on the internet, and 95% of them did not think that it was a serious accusation. Now I know Joey, the former footballer and football manager, divides public opinion. Some people like him and some people love him. He's a bit like Marmite in that he wouldn't exist without the British brewing industry. Joey regularly gets smeared as racist, misogynist, homophobic and all these other words that used to have meanings but are now the equivalent of a 13-year-old girl in Salem screaming, "Witch!" Laurence Fox had a similar ruling made against him by a judge in a defamation case. He was in a tit-for-tat case with ex-Stonewall trustee Simon Blake, the journalist Nicola Thorpe and the drag queen Crystal, aka Colin Seymour, who had all called him racist because of his criticism of Sainsbury's, which had introduced racially segregated spaces for staff. Now some people might agree with Laurence that racially segregated spaces for staff is racist, but according to leftists, ethnic segregation is good now because it gives a safe space to ethnic minority workers who need to be treated differently for some reason. It sounds a lot like old-fashioned racism, but okay. Sainsbury's also posted a bizarre Black History Month message saying, "We are proud to celebrate Black History Month together with our black colleagues, customers and communities, and we will not tolerate racism. We proudly represent and serve our diverse community, and anyone who does not want to shop with an inclusive retailer is welcome to shop elsewhere." It's the classic, "We're inclusive so you need to leave. We represent a diverse society so get out. This shop's for everyone but not you." So Sainsbury's are positioning themselves as the only inclusive supermarket and suggesting that other supermarkets are racist. But despite me asking, Sainsbury's declined to tell me who the racist shops are. Surely, if they really care about racism, they should tell us. Maybe Lidl are an offshoot of the KKK, or Asda has a mission statement calling for a white supremacist ethno-state, or maybe Sainsbury's are just trying to smear Britain as a cesspool of constant racism and hypocritically trying to paint themselves as the one oasis of non-racism to score some ESG brownie points. Sorry, the phrase brownie points is probably racist now too. Sadly, Sainsbury's other activities don't suggest a genuine drive for diversity. They also stopped advertising on GB News despite it having the most ethnically diverse range of presenters on any UK news channel. And never mind that Sainsbury's had an all-white management board until they panicked during the worldwide knee-taking epidemic of July 2020 and hurriedly hired a vaguely ethnic-sounding person. If you think that shopping at Sainsbury's is somehow anti-racist, I've got some anti-racist magic beans to sell you. Laurence Fox accusers didn't just call him racist for pointing out Sainsbury's hypocrisy, they deliberately tried to damage his career. Nicola Thorpe said, "Any company giving future employment to Laurence Fox or providing him with a platform does so with the complete knowledge that he unequivocally, publicly and undeniably is a racist." Fox retaliated by calling his accusers paedophiles, mimicking their exact phrasing. His reply to Thorpe was, "Any company giving future employment to Nicola Thorpe or providing her a platform does so with the complete knowledge that she is unequivocally, publicly and undeniably a paedophile." It was clear he was rhetorically mocking them, turning their own language and phrasing against them. He was saying, "If you call me stupid names, I'll call you stupid names back." It wasn't to damage them, but to undermine their accusations against him. But the judge took Fox's tweet completely literally, saying, "Mr. Fox's labelling of Mr. Blake and Mr. Seymour as paedophiles was, on the evidence of probabilities and facts of this case, seriously harmful, defamatory and baseless." Defamation hinges on the claim being untrue, which it was, obviously. If Laurence had thought that his accusers were actually genuine paedophiles, I'm sure he'd have phoned the police or maybe one of those hilarious nonce hunting teams on Facebook instead of tweeting. But defamation also hinges on damage. Who was damaged in this childish back and forth? Well, Laurence saw his long and lucrative acting career cancelled from this and similar accusations. People in certain industries, the arts, entertainment, the public sector, any industry with gatekeepers who are tyrannical, blue-haired, genderqueer communists basically, well, they all live under constant fear of having their careers and lives destroyed by being called racist. Similarly, I doubt that Joey Barton will have virtue signalling football clubs hammering down his door to ask him to manage their teams now, and I doubt TV executives will be clamouring to hire him as a pundit now that he's been publicly labelled racist, misogynist and all the rest of it. Everyone is walking on eggshells. Joey and Laurence show what happens when you stomp all over those eggshells. And look, I think that defamation laws are essential. I was publicly smeared as racist by somebody in the comedy industry just because I voted Tory. Racist because I voted Tory. I mean, lucky guess. The Tories aren't the party of racists. They gave Britain its most ethnically diverse cabinet in history, proving that ethnicity is no barrier to forming a terrible government. Well, I'm delighted to announce that following the threat of legal action, the woman in question deleted her tweet and put on a lot of weight, and she was already fat. But the smear did damage to me. A couple of comedy promoters publicly vowed never to book me again. I mean, rubbish ones who weren't going to book me anyway, but still, we're seeing the weaponisation of these accusations and the politicisation of the courts. Lawfare is used by both sides. Elon Musk threatened the far left activist group Media Matters with legal action. He alleges that Media Matters manipulated Twitter's algorithm to place adverts next to problematic posts, then used this to pressure advertisers to withdraw funding for Musk's Twitter. Media Matters have now had to lay off 13 staff who are reportedly horrified at the prospect of having to get a real job. So the left should think about the precedent they're setting. The weapon they forge now can be used against them, and the law should be applied without fear or favour. The literalism of the judges in these cases and the way they're biased towards the left is very dangerous. Our speech is full of rhetoric, hyperbole and surrealism. When we say we've got a ton of work on, we don't mean that we've weighed our work and it's an actual ton. When we say we could murder a Chinese, we just want to eat some chow mein, not commit racial genocide. Will these judges find it defamatory if I say that someone never shuts up or has a brain the size of a pea because these statements aren't literally true? The law is nonsense. Bit of a callback to Brass Eye there. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you want to buy me a pint, there are links below, and you can support me making these videos by becoming a Patreon. You get special Patreon only content like an interview coming up with a global finance guru who's going to explain how government debt works and how that's driving mass migration, war and the collapse of the world order. Anyway, thanks for listening. I've been Leo Kearse. Bye. Bye bye.